welcome to Point of View. I'm Tania Nugent. In today's program, we focus on the scourge of sorcery believers in PNG and the impact of women across the country. And we meet a woman who's courageously risking her own safety to help give shelter to victims of sorcery accusations. Yes, it's going to be a heavy show today. But first, I'd like to welcome our panellists and guests. Mckellen, welcome. This is a topic close to you as one of the founders of the Leniata Legacy.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Yeah. We're joined today also by two powerful defenders of human rights in Papua New Guinea. Ruth Kissiam, who is CEO of the Tribal Foundation, and Paulus. Welcome to you both, ladies.
Thank you.
Both Monica and Ruth have devoted their lives to assisting women who have been accused of sorcery, and we'll hear more about the work they do later on the program. But first, let's take a very quick look at this sorcery business. According to research carried out by Oxfam in 2009, most of the population of PNG doesn't really accept natural causes in cases of illness or the death of relatives and friends. And when these things happen, they blame sorcerers and witches who they believe have deliberately used their supernatural powers to cause this harm. It sounds a bit sort of, to me fanciful, but this is actually real, very real. And the results of this belief is nothing short of horrific. Retaliation includes murder, torture, and the destruction of property in exile. In fact, it was only recently, less than 5 years ago, that in 2013 the government repealed a Papua New Guinea law that allowed a defence to violence if it stopped witchcraft. And the killings related to sorcery accusations are now punishable by death. But it's actually not that long ago that this changed. Sorcery has been around in PNG for a while, but through social media, I think, it's put the issue right out there in the open, and the whole world is now aware of this frightening and savage behaviour. It's not the best thing for our country to be known about. This is a big topic, and quite frankly, I don't even know where to begin. But social media has played a big role in bringing this out. Ruth, how have you found it?
Yes, I would say that social media has really did and is still continuing to do this. We see a lot of people that are not taking responsibility of their actions. Some of them are posting pictures and even advocating on how to do witch hunts and all this kind of thing. So it's happening. And the sad thing is that it's all the negativity that is getting out, and people think that it's okay to do that.
Yeah. How do you think social media has created awareness overseas for this issue?
For me, with the media, social media creating awareness in overseas was something that made it possible for me to achieve a lot of work that I've been doing on the ground. Because with the sorcery belief and the sorcery hunt in Papua New Guinea itself, there wasn't any helpful at the time that I was working around sorcery. The government and everyone were not helpful. So when using the social media and the media to go outside, that was the helpful thing that we received when we started seeing a lot of response from the outside coming in and asking the government how could they help to do the work on sorcery.
Yeah. I was in Brisbane, and I didn't know anything about sorcery or that these things still happened. And while there, social media, the use of that highlighted what happened to Kipari Leniata. That's how I got involved, because I couldn't believe that in this day and age a woman could be burnt alive in a public space. That was incredible. My mind could not adjust or could not understand that that could happen. So that's how that came for me. That was a turning point for how I saw my country. So I wanted to do something about it. So thanks to social media and the outcry, we mobilized. We mobilized to try to at least give this thing a voice, let the international community know that there's something happening that is just outrageous, that is unbelievable. So there.
I was blown away by the fact that it was only 2013 that, only recently it was okay to, the law allowed that as an excuse. I'm just blown away by that.
I think what I've seen is that it was not physical retaliation. That's what the law allowed for. And without realizing that there would be physical retaliation, which actually came to light not more than 5-10 years ago. Before that, you could do sorcery against sorcery. It's an ingrained kind of belief. It's our tradition. We've felt it for over hundreds of years. But the retaliation that comes with torturing, killing and all that, that's not part of our culture.
Yeah.
That's not what we do. And that is what has been taken out of context. Our sorcery belief that has been taken out of context. And that is what prompted the government. We did the sorcery response in Goroka 2013 December. And that's when they invited everyone that was working in this space to come and CIMC actually had this conference where we had to come and give our response. And the best way forward was to actually repeal that law, because we already saw that people were now taking actions and there was no punitive measures in place for those that were perpetuating this violence. And so it was done away with, and now it's a criminal offense.
Yeah.
Not just out of context, but remember how recently when the elections were held, somebody blamed sorcery for them not winning the elections. That's how stupid or out of context it actually is.
Yeah. We need to take a very quick break now, but when we return, Monica Paulus shares her courageous story. You don't want to miss that. Back soon. Welcome back to Point of View. Today our focus is on the issue of sorcery belief in Papua New Guinea, and we have two champion defenders for the victims of sorcery accusers, Monica Paulus and Ruth Kissiam. Monica is based in Simbu and Ruth in Mount Hagen, so we're thrilled to have been able to get them both here today together in this discussion. Monica has worked for more than 15 years defending human rights, especially assisting victims of sorcery-related violence and gender-based violence. And she's been labelled by Amnesty International as one of the bravest women in the world. Your story is truly amazing, Monica, and I read an article that you wrote last year in 2000, and you said this is a quote, "In 2000 I felt I would not go on with my life, so I moved to find a way to help myself." I just want to know what was happening in your life that made you feel like you could not go on back then.
At the time, I became a victim myself, so I felt like I didn't want to do anything, but then when I found out that if I sat back, I tend to see a lot of women being tortured and killed at the time. And a lot of them didn't come on the media, and there wasn't any talks on that. So that's where I decided to come out and to advocate on that.
Mm. And Ruth, you're the CEO of the Tribal Foundation, but you're also a pastor's daughter, born in Enga and raised in many different parts of the Highlands. And thanks to your father's mission work, you've managed to interact with all the different cultures in so many parts of PNG that many of us just never get to. How did you come then around to also being a champion for the same cause that Monica is?
I guess I had this amazing upbringing that I saw that we have so much to offer. Papua New Guinea is such a beautiful country with our women being so resilient, very smart, hardworking, amazing. Some communities, it's on the back of women that uphold all the values in the communities as well. And coming from that and coming across in 2013, a body in the morgue that wasn't claimed for some time after she was killed, Kepari Leniata. And it took me about 11 months to claim the body. And I buried her just 1 month shy of an anniversary. And that sort of pushed me, because I saw that there was a gap in the system, the government system. I had to go back and forth to the police station to get them to release the warrant to bury. And then I had to go back to the hospital just to collect them to give me the certificate that would say that, she's dead and you can bury her. All these things, it took me about 5 months to collect. And I saw that there was something in our system that needed to be strengthened. That was one of the things that I actually prompted me to work with, because women were not getting justice, even in death. They die undignified deaths, but then even then, they just didn't have the systems didn't allow for them to be recognized for who they were. So that kind of pushed me to work with in the space that I've been working.
Monica, I know that from reading and learning about you that you were accused of sorcery. Can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, I was the eldest in a family, and my brother, the one after me, over my father's death, maybe just wanted the house that the family had. So he has to accuse me so that I have to leave the place and go. And at the time, I was the eldest in the family, so I felt responsible for my my siblings, and I was the one that contributed a lot to the family at the time. And my mother died when we were so young. So maybe that was the only reason why my biological brother had to accuse me for that. And my brother, the other thing was he was a pastor. And he used to, he was a pastor, so anyway, he accused me, and it was like a shocking thing in my life. Like, we're trying to mourn over my father's death, and then all of a sudden you get a knock that you are responsible for his death. And before that, I also had believed in sorcery, and when I was accused, it was like a shocking thing for me. What's the evidence that shows that I am a sorcerer? So that was the thing that drove me into doing what I was doing. And at the time, when I was accused, you had every eyes on you that you are a bad person, and you don't have a place in the society, and you don't have a place to go to, and you are pushed out of the community and of the family and everyone that you used to be with. So I decided to move to stay in Ley with a friend. And my staying in Ley was in, what's the place? It was in Tent City at the time. When I stayed in Tent City with my friend, then there was a death in that community. And with my own eyes, I saw men stoning this woman to death. And it was right next to the Tent City police station, and the policemen were watching. And for me, I sat there and I was thinking, if the police can't help, then there's no way we women will get help from. Because if the government is not going to be responsible for us, we women have to stand up and do something. So I decided to come back to the place that I was thrown out to continue my work from there on.
Wow, so brave. Because you're taking high risk with the work you do. Tell us about that when women come to you and take shelter. How dangerous that is.
When working with the victims of sorcery accusations, it's a very high-risk work that we're working around with. And a lot of times, our safety nets are always our friends who are the human rights defenders. Because when you look at the accusations in the highlands, especially in Simbu and these areas, it's always the immediate family. And the families that you trust for security, the families that you rely on that will protect you, these are the very people that will turn against you. So your security is not guaranteed at all. So when we are taking care of those accused ones, they also blamed us for that. They say, you're trying to protect your kind. So it's more risk doing that work, but if we don't do it, who else is going to do it? So in one way or the other, one has to stand up and do the work. So that's why a lot of us tend to do this work now.
So with all these women that you have helped, you have a network, you said, and that's in the Simbu area. Where else can you reach out to, or where else do you help? What are the parts of the Highlands region?
I'm also part of the Highlands Women Human Rights Defenders Network, which Mary Kinney is the head of it, which she's really a good woman we've worked together with. And then in the Highlands we have this, in Goroka we have Cafe Women's Association, who's part of that. In Jiwaka we have Voice for Change, which is Lily Beswa. And in Chimbu, we have a Kupuman for Peace, Angela Hapa, who is the head of Kupuman for Peace. And we're trying to work closely with other women from Western Islands. We're having someone from Family Life, I forgot the name, but then also the Messy Works. So we're working very closely with them. We're trying to get all of someone from Henga and Hela to work closely with also. So we're still working on that with the Highlands Network. But back in Chimbo, we have Women for Peace. We have other organizations like the Family Support Center we work very closely with, and also the FSBU. We have other community-based organizations. And as for me, I've just set up Highlands Women, which It's not Islands Women Human Rights Defenders, but it's the Simbu Human Rights Defenders Network, which I have 25 small community-based organizations in all the 6 districts with almost 600 members. Now we're working around, and we have coordinators in each district. We're trying to work to end this belief on sorcery, but we're more focused on the prevention part and repatriation part of it there.
Okay, that's really interesting. We want to hear more about that, but we need to take a very quick break. When we return, how do we reconcile this widespread belief in sorcery when we are a Christian country? Back soon. Welcome back to Point of View. We're joined on the set now by Vicar Malakai Gande from the Murray Lutheran Church, because we want to explore how Christianity fits in with the topic that we're talking about. First of all, welcome, Vicar. Thank you so much for making time this morning. Papua New Guinea proudly declares itself to be a Christian nation. In the 2000 census, 96% of the population declared themselves to be Christian. So I personally struggle to understand how that works with the clear evidence that belief in sorcery is widespread. So first, we're going to have a quick look at what people out there on the street have to say. Here's Isabel Drummer with Street View.
Sorcery. Some of you may know it as black magic or something belong on Sanguma. But what really is it to you? We take to the streets to find out what it means and to also find out whether it compromises Christian beliefs.
So we're sitting here at Paga. It's really windy, so don't mind my hair. All right, so do you believe in sorcery?
No.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I'm Christian.
Okay, well, what to you is sorcery?
We don't believe in sorcery because of Christianity, and we believe in God.
I'm just going to ask you, what in your definition is sorcery?
It's the belief. In my opinion, it's a belief of ill comings to others. That's what I.
Probably sorcery. It comes in a broad definition, but in Papua New Guinea terms, we can say sorcery is like we can say sanguma, something like spirit-filled. It's like witchcraft, something like that. So that's what I can say about sorcery.
Sometimes sorcery works out properly, but sometimes it don't work because we are Christian country and we pray a lot, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
Do you think other Papua New Guineans believe in sorcery? Do you know anybody who does?
Yes, definitely. I'm from Simbu, so yeah. Definitely my people are just, the root.
Are they Christians as well, though?
Huh?
Are they Christians?
Well, Christian is slowly going through every part of Papua New Guinea, but
sorcery, okay, sorcery I would think is like the use of supernatural or spells or something to cause harm or illness on someone or something. Yeah, that I would think that is.
And what about you, Anna?
I'd say sorcery is basically using witchcraft to, as my colleague said, cause harm on someone else.
I don't very much believe in sorcery. Yeah.
Are you a Christian?
That's right, I'm a Christian.
Are your family members, do they believe in sorcery, like in the village or in other places?
In the village, I think they believe in sorcery, but like for me, I don't believe so much in the sorcery thing here.
Yes, I am a Christian.
Right, so how do you make both beliefs work in your mindset? Because they both contradict each other.
Yeah, I'm not really sure because I'm both a Christian, but I also believe in sorcery, so I'm not really sure.
Well, that's only a handful of opinions. Find us on Facebook and tell us what you think. And for now, it's back to the panel for more discussion.
So that's what people out there had to say on the street about this complex and strange mesh-up of our Christian beliefs and our widespread belief in sorcery. Vicar, can you please tell us what the church's position is on this issue?
The position of the church, by looking at the issue, the church saw these activities of the sorcery as the threat to the human life. So the church has got their own principles to make sure that sorcery activities to be diminished. Yeah.
So how do you work with your congregation? Have you had any experiences yourself as a churchgoer and now as a person working with a congregation of people who have been accused of sorcery or people who accuse other people of sorcery?
For those people who have been accused of sorcery, when they come to find help, help the pastor of the congregation or the elder of the church try to bring peace between the both parties, the sorcerer and the victims.
So have you handled cases? Have you seen a lot of this type of activity in your church or in your experience?
Of course, yes. Some of the sorcerers whom they cause sorcery activities and the victims, they bring them to the attention of the church leaders. The church leaders sometimes told them that we have got no power to, kill these sorcerers because these are their lives, and we also have concern of their lives. But there is a certain principles that we can follow so that both parties can be in peace. This is what the church concerns about. So the church will never take the lives of the sorcerer or make any support for a victim, but the church always be in the midst of both so that their problems must be solved equally.
Do you ever try and convince people who believe that there's been sorcery that it's not true? Or it's just, to me, it's like how it's so common. You're the other daughter of a pastor, Ruth. Maybe you can shed some light on how this works with the. To me, it's like a clash of two different beliefs.
I'll tell you something. When the first missionaries came, they were so happy that they had mass conversion. The thing they didn't know was this: we are a spiritual people. We believe in anything. We believe there's a spirit goddess, of the river goddess, the lake goddess, the mountain goddess. We have that belief, that we believe in different kinds of spirits. So for us to believe in a man up in the sky was so easy. We just did it, converted, without realizing that the word of God had to be preached, taught, for them to fully understand what the gospel stood for. This is what we are having now. It's a backlash. It was just another belief that we fell for. Everyone will say they are Christians. Everyone will say we believe in sorcery. Everyone will say this. I have pastors that have pulled women out of churches to be handed over to be tortured. We have pastors that have signed the papers. You see, this is another belief that we have. My father, thanks to him, has taught me that you believe in Jesus Christ, that's it. And that's what I've stood for, that I believe in Christ, and I believe that he's the one that gives life and he's the one that takes away life. And there's no other so-called power that does this. But then we have people that still believe, that are Christians, that they believe. You can't tell them, dictate to them what they believe. You can only help them along. And I think the problem we have right now is the lives that have been taken away forcefully and criminally. And that's what we are trying to correct here, that must be corrected. Because the perception or the belief ingrained in them.
Yeah. I mean, this is, Monica, your experience was you were accused by not just your brother, but also a pastor.
My experience with the churches, which related to sorcery beliefs and accusation, for me was like there are two different types of churches now that we are talking about when we talk about Christianity. Like we have the Pentecostal churches, and we also have these mainline churches. So the mainline churches are more supportive to address the issue on sorcery. And when you look at the Pentecostal churches, they're preaching the word of God, but then like they're more on judgmental part of it. Like they take the place of God to judge. So they're more the ones that seem to play the part of accusations. So this was the things that I tend to realize with the two churches, that the two different groups of churches that we have related to Christians in this country. So what I could say here is with the churches is like, for us, we work very closely with the mainline churches, and we've seen a lot of support from them helping us to address this issue. And with the Pentecostal churches, like for me was one, I tend to see that they are trying to create a lot of problems related to sorcery. So this is just my judgment on the two church groups that I could see.
I think one of the questions that I've always had, like there's a conundrum. People are saying that we're a spiritual people, and church, the Bible is a spiritual thing. So I've had this in conversations where people will say, it's a spiritual battle, so sorcery is part of the spiritual battle, and in the context, the result of which is like murder and death. How do we separate the two? Like, can we put that into a box on its own, or is that a conversation we can have?
With that, like, what I usually say a lot in my awareness and all this is, I tend to say, like, only God has the power to give life, and God alone has the power to take life. So we don't have that power. As human beings, we don't have that power. Only God has the power to decide on our lives. So, and also, like, it's also on the judgmental part of it. Only God will judge us. And then if you're trying to take the place of God, then you will judge others. So when it comes to the sorcery beliefs and things like this, a lot of times when you look at them, you may talk, you may Christian, that's all you may not scale him, you may walk lot time to kill him all man. But you look at Muslims, so-called Christians are the very ones that will be the ones that will accuse and those all but start to kill him all man related to the beliefs. So it's like you're saying one thing, that you're a Christian, but when it comes to displaying your Christianity belief by killing others, it's not right. So in another words, like you may try to walk him something I'm opposite like believe you may.
Yeah. We do need to take a quick break, but before we do, I just want to ask you, Pastor, to have a final say before we take a quick break.
Thank you. Let's see what the reference told us. The reference in here in Ephesians 6:10 to 12, the reference said that we are not fighting against the flesh at this moment of time. We are fighting against the principalities, powers, and the rulers of this dark world. Therefore, I think the pastors have to be must be well trained spiritually, so that when they go out in the field, so that they can fight with these spirits to combat those sorcerers and to fight against the evil spirits, so that we can take people out of that darkness to the light.
Thank you very much, Vika. Thanks for coming in. We do need to take a very quick break. We just want to qualify that we don't mean to cause any offence to anybody's faith or beliefs in terms of their Christian denominations, etc. We understand it is a very sensitive subject, but we think that under the circumstances we just need to bring this kind of stuff out. So yes, time for a quick break. When we return, a new safe house in Simbu, and we will look at the work being done to address the effects of this sorcery belief. Welcome back to Point of View. Those who are accused of sorcery almost always seem to be women who have no choice but to flee their homes and their villages and sometimes even their province or country to escape with their lives. Monica Paulus has just opened the first safe house in Simbu with thanks to an organisation in Poland called the Foundation. Apologies if I mispronounced that. But this is great news. Congratulations on getting this much needed facility up and running. Tell us about how this happened and what you have set up.
I got this funding from Poland. I think it was just through the documentaries that they watched my documentary in Poland, and they've decided to contact me and ask me what they could do to help me with the funding. So this is how I got my funding to set up the Safe House. They decided to fund the Safe House for 5 years. So I could say thank you to the PNG Foundation in Poland. And with the Safe House, I decided to put the Safe House, I'm not putting it up, but I'm renting the place there. And it is right next to my house that I used to house the survivors of social-related violence. So it is still within the community that I trusted and worked a long time with them. So it's not putting the place in a new place, but within the same community, because it's the community that will help me to support and protect security for the survivors there.
Where exactly is the Safe House?
The Safe House is at Chimbe, and it is just next to the bridge. When you're driving from Goroka, it's on the left, and when you're driving from Mount Hagen to Goroka, it's on the right. And it's a very big building, and it will still stand out for others to see.
I think one of the things people don't realize is that when you're accused of sorcery and there are times when you can actually be exiled from your community. And I know that you had issues with relocating women. Like, tell us about that, because people don't understand that people basically leave everything to go live in another place.
I think that was one of the biggest problems we're having now related to sorcery, because you see a lot of families being internally displaced in this country, and they've fled to so many places, to so many provinces, without the help from the government most of the time. And when we talk about internally displaced, meaning they're leaving their homes, their families, their land, all that they have to leave and flee for their lives. And when it's social-related violence, it means going with your whole family. And when you talk about Papua New Guinea family, it's an extended family. So for me, I've dealt a lot of them to be repatriated, and most of them also children that I've worked with and helped them to be repatriated. And at the time, like I was really helpful at the time with head of fundings, like from Amnesty International and Oxfam coming in to support, and we've relocated a lot of them. And we had a girl who's been sent when she was only 9 when she was accused. And now she's living with the Catholic Church in Vanimo, and she's really doing very well there. So this was one of the achievements with social-related violence. I also helped 5 women and a man. They had money, so they fled to Australia, and that's why they've lived in Australia now with that. And for more recently, my coming here is, I got 3 families with 14 members in the family to be relocated and to settle in Mosby. So I'm just waiting for the PNG Foundation to come up and open the place, and then I could come out to talk about more on the place that they're staying. But with the Safe House, like, there is a lot of need to it, because when you look at a Safe House, most of the time we say it's a woman's place, and we talk about it's a children's place. But with sorcery now, like you see, it's a family. So you see men, women, everyone in the family. So so we're just taking care of our family that is accused. So it's like we have men, women, everyone together. So when it's a family, we keep all the families together in the Safe House and try to protect them, because if we are saying it's only for the women, then where else could a man go to for safety? And that's another problem we're having. So like they will say, oh, you're not following the guidelines for the Safe House and things like this. But for us, we're just providing a place so that we could take care of whatever that comes up, so we could protect life.
So you're talking about men as well, because it seemed to me that women seem to be the target of accusations. Are men also being accused of sorcery?
Yes. with cases. More recently, we're having a lot of men being accused of sorcery now. So at this moment, like, I got 2 old men in the safe house now with their wives who have been accused of sorcery. And the other one is about to die, so the family decided to come and ask if they could take the man back to the village. The wife's family said it's not good, and like he could stay in the safe house and die here because it's not good. We just have to take him away. And then we're having another one coming with the family. So we're having a lot of men being accused. And the team that I brought down here is men and women being accused of sorcery. It's the whole family that's been accused. And looking at that, when you look at that, like you having the whole family, it's really like the whole family's been internally displaced now. They don't know where to go, they don't know what to do. They're just there waiting for someone to come and save them. It's just like that.
Yeah.
So for me, internally displaced people in Papua New Guinea, most of them are sorcery-related violence, and we really need to look into that area, on the area of internal displaced people related to sorcery.
We're going to have to take a quick break now. Stay with us. Later on in the program, we'll be giving you information about how you can help with the safe house that Monica has set up in Simbu. And when we return, protecting the welfare of the victims of sorcery accusers is one thing, but what about addressing the root causes of this belief in sorcery? And we'll hear more about the work of Ruth Kissiam and the Tribal Foundation. That's next. Welcome back to Point of View. We've been looking at the work that's been done to address the impact of sorcery belief in PNG and the extreme violence that comes from it. The Tribal Foundation, of which Ruth is the CEO, runs a campaign that hopes to change the way people think and behave. Let's have a quick look at this trailer for the Senisim Pasin campaign.
Hello, talk back.
Yumi must start looking from attitude. Lo Yumi old man, works old mamana.
Holanga mapimi sim tribal diwai. All broken me go light him. Cooking milo and yan about here. All to use anguman.
Man true. A man where me respect him, Susa Bloen. Mama Bloy, a man where me respect him or marry. Na walk plain lo how am by look out him.
He crossed the zone. Go inside the house and simple snap sale pimi.
Igupla lo tokimal story. Igupla lo ultimal story. That's very important. But what Lipla like concentrate on and solutions.
I'm hope Lomi or some Papua New Guinea one day will create a Garden of Eden for all the women.
So some incredible work being done there by the Tribal Foundation and the Senisim Pasin campaign. Just give us a little brief snapshot of the Tribal Foundation and the broader work it does.
Tribal Foundation is actually an organization that is indigenous. Was started by a missionary kid. I don't know if you would be happy if I call him a missionary kid, but Gary Boston started Samaritan Aviation back in 2008, and then 2012 we started PNG Tribal Foundation, which works in the areas of maternal health, education. We work in women's empowerment, And we've done a lot of other things as we're working with the provincial government and the national government too on other issues to do with children's welfare as well. But one of the things that we're really concentrating on is our Sene Simpasin campaign, which is based around the film, the trailer that we just watched. The main essence of the film is actually to talk about the values of a woman and to push forward gender appreciation. A lot of the times we see that what's happening in gender-based violence and also sorcery-related violence is we're going after women, not realizing, not taking into context that it's the women in our communities, it's the women in our family that actually hold us together. It's them that do the hard work. It's off their back that we have strong sons. It's off their back that we have strong men in our community that can stand and own, like in the Highlands we say, owning blessing singa. She looks after your pig so that you stand in front of everyone and then you say, I'm contributing this. But it's her that does the hard work. Through Sene Simpasin, what we like to get out there is gender appreciation, because that is more culturally sound to us. To talk about gender appreciation more when we appreciate each other. When men start to appreciate the value that a woman adds. She tills your land, but she doesn't own it. She looks after your house, makes it a home, but she doesn't have ownership of that house. Your children call your name, they don't call her name. She actually adds value to your life in everything she does, but at the end of the day, she needs to be appreciated. We don't get to say thank you to our women, and that's one thing in our culture that we need to change. And what Sene Simpasin does, it does that. It highlights that we need to appreciate our women. If we can start off with that little thing, appreciate our women, our mothers, our daughters, for the value that they had into our lives, maybe then we might start to see them in a different light. Respect is mutual.
Yeah.
We can't just expect them to turn around and respect us when we don't appreciate what they do. So that's what Sene Simpasin does.
Fantastic. We were talking before the break about how whole families are being uprooted, the experience of Monica with whole families being uprooted and displaced. And the word refugee was mentioned. Tell us a little bit more about the internal refugee, the internal refugee issue that we have.
It's happening in the country right now. And that is something I think the government needs to really look into, because what's happening is that families are being displaced internally. We are having, like the classic example here, I hate to use this word, but the famous sorceress that was killed in Hagen, Philma, you know her, Kepari Leniata. She was a refugee that fled her home in Paella, which is right at the back on the borders of Hela, Southern Islands, and Enga. And she came into Pogera. The accusations followed her. So she fled to Hagen. And she, that finally caught up with her 3 years after she fled from. She was an internal refugee. Now, Monica was telling us about all these women and men and family that are being internally displaced. The government has to do something about it, because here we are trying to solve other people's refugee crisis, building up asylum on our island, but we're doing nothing about what's happening in our country. Families are being torn apart. Houses are being burned. People are fleeing for their lives. Mothers, one of the mothers that I know about is, she doesn't know whether her daughter was killed before or after she was captured, whether her mother was killed before or after, because she doesn't know what happened to them. All she knows is that she fled for her life, and all she knows was that they were killed. And she, with her burnt legs and everything, and that's on our Sene Simpasin film that she talks about how she escaped with her life. And this is what's happening. But then these people, that when they flee their home, they go with the accusation. And that's the thing. It's like a rope around their neck. Unless the government comes up with very strong measures to help that, either strengthen our institution, our judiciary institutions, unless we come up with law enforcement being given the teeth to bite in this area, we will not be able to curb this, because it's spiraling out of control.
Yeah, and you're saying that it is on the rise?
Very much so.
Yeah.
She just mentioned that in Enga we're trying to get 4 women out. Everywhere it's happening, not only in provinces like I come from Enga province that does not have a cultural belief in sorcery. But now in the Highlands, they're coming second in torturing their women. And it's on the rise because we're not doing it. What is supposed to be done is not being done in a way that it combats it, but it needs to be. And I think we need to shed light on this in such a way that the government has to respond, and respond positively.
Yeah, very true. We need to take a quick break now, but stay with us, because if you've been moved and outraged by the reality and prevalence of sorcery-related killings in Papua New Guinea, we'll tell you how you can get behind the work of Ruth and Monica and how you can help. Stay with us. welcome back to Point of View. Well, one thing is for sure, and I hope you feel the same as we do, we need to get behind these brave people and the work they're doing. So I'm going to open the floor to both of you now, for all of the audience out there and for us. How can we help you? What can we do? I'll start with you, Monica.
With the work that I do, I think I really need a lot of support is from the government, because a lot of times, like, we're doing work trying to save the women and children in the districts or in the provinces, and they're Papua New Guineans and they're the citizens of this country. And the need that I'm having at this moment with the Safe House is like, I just need the MPs in all the districts of Simbu to really look at their funds to support. Because after all, we're going to save the women in their districts. So at least they have to have some budgets in their funds to support the Safe House. That's one. And at the moment, like in Port Moresby, I have families that are being repatriated to live in Moresby, and at this moment I need beddings, I need pots, I need just necessary things to keep them going. I think these are the needs that I need them to support in Port Moresby, but otherwise in Simbu, the Safe Houses, I really just need the support from the government.
Okay.
And also I need the police to really play the key of providing the security. So it has to be their responsibility to check around the Safe House and to see that the place is okay and the people that we need to help and all this.
Yeah. And so for our viewers out there watching, you just said you need bedding, you need saucepans, you need sheets, you need towels, knives, forks, spoons, all these kinds of things that people need in a home. So perhaps we'll put up on the screen just now contact details and information for how people can, maybe someone just might want to donate a fry pan,
Thank you.
Okay. And Ruth, Tribal Foundation, Senisimpasin campaign, what can our audience do to help you?
Well, get on our Senisimpasin page, like it. Also on our PNG Tribal Foundation page, we have options where you can be part of the tribe. We say, who wants to be part of the tribe, The reason why we call it Tribal Foundation is because we have more than 1,000 tribes. But this is one tribe that we think that everyone should be part of, because it's for us, it's by us, it's for us, and it's to help us out. If you get on our website, you will see there are options where you can actually donate monthly or a one-off kind of thing, or you can even sponsor a screening in your place. We usually around, we charge around, there is a lot of money involved. Logistically, Papua New Guinea is a nightmare. Yeah. It's about 1,500 USD usually. So it's about, you're looking at 4,000 to 5,000 kina just for us to, get out there with our generator, with our the bracelet that we do when we have people to do their when they do take the campaign across to them. We have the pledges that we need to print out. We need people that we need to take out. The trainings that we do, usually about 4,000 to 5,000 kina. So if you want to sponsor a screening in your place, in your village, just let us know. Get on our website, send us an email or send us a text on our Facebook page, and let us know how you can help us. And we'd love to partner with communities, with groups, with government departments. Churches are very good partners, but that's what we're doing right now. Just getting out to the communities and spreading the word on gender appreciation.
Gender appreciation, I love that. Well, we're about to wrap things up. The show's almost come to an end, but I just want to go around and get you all to have a final say. I'll start with you, Philma. What's your final 2 toyas worth on this?
Okay, well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure. Amazing. Thank you to our vicar also who dropped by. I think this is something that needs to be said. This is a conversation that people need to have. And I just want to appeal to everyone out there, any one of you can make a difference. The power is within you to create change in your community and eventually your nation. So please get behind ladies like Monica and Ruth doing such great work and support the organizations out there.
Monica.
I just want to thank other human rights defenders around Papua New Guinea who are working around this issue to address this issue, because with them and their support, it made it possible for us others to do the work that we are doing now. So I want to thank them all. And also I want to thank Oxfam for being a very supportive partner to the human rights defenders in the Highlands in addressing this issue. And also I want to just bring this across that it needs all of us to work together to address this issue. Just one person doing this, we will never come to address this issue. Thank you.
And Ruth?
I would like to thank the hardworking policemen and women out there that have actually, most of them have put their lives on the line. I've worked with a lot of amazing policemen that have rescued women, repatriated them, and have put their lives on the line, literally. You know, shout out to them. Even though some of them are logistically very impaired, but they do their best. And for others in this space that are also working with us, I would like to say thank you. People in news like EMTV, ABC Australia, as Bruce Hills and his team has done an amazing job. They always, you know, try to get things out to the international community so that we can have, you know, highlight this issue that is happening. And also other people that are actually, you know, going ahead, like what Monica said. But there is something that I would like to appeal to the public is, especially on Facebook, please be responsible. Anything that you post, anything you say in support or in condemnation, be very careful. Weigh your words, because a lot of people are gullible. A lot of people will take anything you say and actually act on it. And we've had instances where people actually have gotten on Facebook and have just posted it out without taking into consideration what others might see of it, view of it, and they might even see it as that's the way to do things, you know, kill people. So that is my appeal to people out there, that when you do post things on Facebook, take responsibility, weigh it out before you put things out there for people to consume.
Thank you, Ruth, and thank you also, Monica, and thank you, Philma, as well. It's been an intense discussion, and I'm really glad. My takeaway is gender appreciation. I love that term. I'm going to be using it. I appreciate the opposite gender. I appreciate my own gender. Appreciate each other. And thank you also, everybody out there, for watching. Don't forget, our Facebook page is there for you to give us your point of view, and we would especially love to hear from you about the things that we've been talking about today. That's our show for now. Until next time, stay safe and be kind to each other. Bye for now.